Okay, so I just got done watching VHS 94. This released on Shudder last night, and I was going to watch it last night, but then something came up, and then I watched it today, and I had to rearrange my entire schedule to fit this movie in. But there was no way I was going to miss this movie because I love this franchise. Like I love the first two movies, VHS Viral. Like I think there's okay moments in it. Like that's really hard to say because there's very minor stuff. There's very minor stuff I liked about Viral. Like that is to me easily the worst in this entire franchise. And then we get to VHS 94. So how is VHS 94? Is it as good as the first two movies or is it as bad as VHS Viral? Let's get into it. So VHS 94, I'll put it this way. If you love the first two VHS movies, you will love VHS 94 because it takes elements from both the first and the second movie and it combines it into this movie. Like for example, if you liked the first person perspective in VHS 2, they bring it back into VHS 94, which in my review I said that was one of my favorite parts, and in this movie it's once again one of my favorite parts. That's probably this movie is probably one of my favorite sequences that is a first person perspective shot, and it looks amazing. Um, and if you liked all of the practical gore in the first two movies, this movie it's brought back into here and it's enhanced. This is the goriest entry in the entire franchise, as well as having the highest body count in this franchise as well. Which, if you are a gore hound and you love blood and gore, this movie delivers on it in spades. There's a lot of blood splatter, there's a lot of gore, there's a lot of tearing of faces. And yeah, us as horror fans, we love that stuff, and this movie certainly delivers on it for the most part. And I'll tell you why I say for the most part. Because while this movie does have some amazing practical gore, like especially in the first two stories, which I won't get into what's in the stories in particular, but in the first two stories that are presented in the movie, like it has amazing gore. But then it's once it gets to the third story and onwards, where this film it places some really unnecessary CGI gore, and it's for like a very minor spot, like might be for a very minor splatter, like in the corner of the screen, and it looks horrible. Like I am not joking. The CGI in this movie, it looks like something that can be made from Microsoft Paint. Like it's that level of bad in this movie. um, and it does take you out. It does take you out of the story because it's so noticeable when everything else like looks good in the frame, and then you just see in the corner of the frame like this blood splatter, and you can just so tell it was added in post production, and there's a lot of unnecessary like little gore moments. And like throughout this movie, and like as I've said in the past, like I'm not, I guess I'm not a CGI hater. Like I feel like if CGI can be done right, especially in horror movies, I feel like that's a very controversial topic. But I feel like, as I've said in my past reviews, but I feel like if CGI can be blended into the scene well, like I don't have a problem with it. But it's this type of CGI that like it's so noticeable. And I understand this franchise isn't made with the biggest budget, but if you look at some of the stories throughout this franchise, like they have amazing practical gore, and then for just like the most minor of like blood, you have to make it CGI. So in this movie, the reason why it frustrated me is because I didn't see the point when it was for like a single frame, when you could easily like mix up something like on set, like you have like makeup designers, and you have all these people, you have all these people like at your side to create this stuff. And so it really bothers me when it's this level of bad. um, for me. But yeah, anyways, putting that aside, yeah, that's my complaint on the CGI blood in VHS. 94. The movie also has some really bad acting in it. Like one story in particular, which I like. I don't want to give away, any of what the stories are about. But there's one story in particular that takes place underground that I felt the acting, like I was laughing. I was laughing quite often at how bad the acting was, like throughout this. Um, but the acting is not great in this movie. But then on the other hand, there's other stories in this movie that actually have some really great acting. There's some really good acting, especially in the first two stories. There's some good acting. There's some great suspense. There's some great, genuinely creepy and terrifying moments. Especially in the first story that takes place in the sewers. I thought there was some great suspense. I thought there was some pretty good sound design, and I thought there was, I thought all of the camera movement throughout, I thought looked pretty good. And I think this is probably one of the best looking VHS movies as well, because watching this like on a 4K TV, it definitely does like add to the experience to if you were watching it like on a laptop. But yeah, like as a whole, like I really enjoyed this movie. I think there's a great musical score when music does play in this movie. I think most of the stories are well directed. Like my personal favorites in this movie were the first two. So the one that takes place in the sewer, and then the one that takes place, I guess, like in a what is like in a business center of sorts. I don't know really what it was. You didn't really get a good look at it. But yeah, like I really enjoyed this movie. So yeah, if you guys have seen VHS 94, let me know down in the comments. What did you think of it? Did you like it? Did you think it was male, or did you really not like it? And let me know also what you think of just this franchise as a whole, and where VHS 94 does land in your ranking of these films. Yeah, I hope you can check out VHS 94. It's definitely worth a watch. Really enjoyed it. Alright, good night, guys.